like the glasses. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Aaron?
I am great. Let us know if you see us. We are officially live. I'm super excited. Last week went so well, right?
Went really good. We had a great guest.
I had so many people reach out and say, who's on next week? So I'm so excited about this week. Are you excited?
Well, we got a bunch of yahoos. Good thing they're friends, so I think they're going to be making fun of each other a lot. But also, they're well-known executives here in town, so a lot of people will know our guest as well. So should we introduce him?
Let's do it. You got your music ready?
No music ready. The Wi-Fi is not working. This is the working from home, and the Chicago Bulls music is not fired up.
Hold on. I think that I can do it. Is it just called Chicago Bulls intro theme?
Yeah, it is.
Is that it? All right. Let's see if, guys, I know nothing about sports. Is this it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's perfect.
All right.
You do that so quickly. You must do this for a living.
All right. You introduce him since I'm playing music.
Who's going first? We got Grant Gooding. Oh, we clicked it right. This is fun. Isaac Collins. Chris Smith. And Chris Cheatham.
Welcome, everybody. Does everybody have their drink? Drinks with leaders. Let's start off with the cheers.
Salute.
So,
all right, Scott, I'll let you take it from here.
All right. So, Grant, everyone's going to give a little bit of their personal background. And if you go too long, this panel is going to start booing you. So, Grant, how did you get to Kansas City? And tell us a little bit about your company in less than 4 minutes.
This crew is going to boo me after 20 seconds. So,
okay.
Born and raised here, so I'm a native, and was set to go into law, similar to someone else here, but instead went down a mergers and acquisitions path and became an analyst and started a market research company, and that's about 8 years ago, called Proof Positioning, and we do specifically emotion-based market research.
Isaac?
Well, first off, I love that Chicago Bulls theme because it gives me chills. Big Bulls fan. But I am born and somewhat raised here in good old Kansas City on the east side, born at Truman Medical Center. I say somewhat because at a young age, I moved to St. Joe with my family. Went to college at Missouri Western, moved up to Iowa, bought my first business. And in 2015, I missed Kansas City. So I was looking for opportunities and ended up landing another business, Yogurtini in the Plaza. If you guys have heard of it or if you've been there. So purchased that then, and that got me back home and just loving it since. And I think I met you, Scott, like a week after moving here and been in Top Gun since. So that's how I got to KC.
Back to KC. Chris Smith.
All right. Aloha, Kansas City. Hold the jokes, but I am from Hawaii, born and raised. I know I don't look like it. I look like I'm from the Midwest, so I don't need to hear about that. But born and raised there, grew up in Hawaii on Oahu, and played football at the University of Hawaii, go Bows. Then I got fired and played football at Missouri State University in Springfield, Missouri, which is how I got to the Midwest. Then I went to a pharmaceutical company called Eli Lilly and was in Rapid City, South Dakota. And a buddy called me and said, hey, there's a great M&A job in Kansas City. Flew down here, got the job, and then started my business a little over a decade ago now. We provide software to college athletic departments, Olympic committees, and hopefully pro sports teams soon.
What are some of your recent wins, just to give everyone an idea?
We're still in business, brother.
Yeah, there you go. I was saying you just recently signed up the University of Kansas.
We did. We just launched the K Club Network for all you locals, so we're excited about that.
Chris Cheatham, give us a little bit of the background.
So my name is Chris Cheatham. I'm wearing my wife's blouse because I was told to wear Hawaiian. I I might have gone a little crazy too and just started dressing up as my wife every once in a while just to keep things livened up in this. Yeah. So I used to be a lawyer up in Washington, D.C. Before that was from Overland Park, went to KU, UT Law School. So I was practicing law. I was doing insurance claims and realized that the documents that we were getting on every claim were a complete mess. And so started a software company to manage documents for insurance companies. And then we started applying artificial intelligence to those documents. And now we help humans read insurance policies with artificial intelligence. It's a particularly interesting time for that because the insurance companies have no clue what's in their policies, and every business interruption claim. So we're a little busy.
Exactly. You're going to be very busy. Aaron, give me a little bit of your background.
Oh, well, we're already getting questions. So I want to remind everybody that we are going to do questions here right after we ask our questions. So start typing in your questions. Make sure it gets asked of your favorite leader on here or a question for all of them. I do want to answer one of the questions right now. Rajane, she asks if this means that she's allowed to start drinking now. And I have already talked to your boss and they say yes, absolutely. So cheers. I own a marketing company. I don't know. Follow us on Lily and James Creative. How about you, Scott?
No one cares about what I do. So, Grant, what are the top 2 ways that your organization generates revenue? 1 or 2, but how are you guys creating commerce for your organization?
Well, number 1 is answering what we call burning questions. So the emotional research that we're able to perform puts us in a very unique position to answer extremely tough questions. These are questions like, why have people stopped buying my product? Or how come we can't get market penetration in a particular area that we thought we could? And so we have a very unique way of being able to figure those things out. So our primary revenue generator is we deal with hundreds of organizations that come to us and they say, hey, here's 5 things we need to figure out. And in 45 days, we give them the answers to those questions, and then they get to move the organization forward how they see fit based on the answers to those questions. That's the first. The second is we have dashboards and metrics that allow organizations to measure things like familiarity, awareness, satisfaction in a way that is substantially more insightful and intuitive than what you typically get with hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you recommend us to a friend or family member? Those quantitative methods are pretty old and very challenging to work with if you're trying to actually learn something or move the needle for your company. So number 1 is answering burning questions. That's our primary for sure. Number 2 is being able to provide ongoing metrics to help measure emotions of your customers and prospects so that businesses can close more deals.
Isaac, feel free to take this question any way you want. With the pandemic, I mean, it's a little bit of a curveball for your business. So how are things going, and then how are you generating revenue when we don't have a global shutdown?
Yeah, that is a very interesting question right now. But so I didn't even say what I do, I guess, if you guys don't know. So Yogurtini is a self-serve frozen yogurt here in Kansas City. It is a franchise, and my wife and I currently own 2 locations here, one on the plaza and one in Shoal Creek area right outside of Liberty. And so our main model, the number 1 way we make revenue, is people walking in the door and enjoying a fresh cup of frozen yogurt. And we pride ourselves on what we do. We have been able to stand through the pandemic and a lot of other things as well, because we really focus on the customer experience. We really want people to have fun. We pride ourselves in being able to serve the whole family, not just college, high school age kids, but also younger kids than that and the parents as well, through a clean store, through great customer service, through a great product, fresh, toppings, et cetera, et cetera. And the second thing we do is catering. We love to go outside of the store to bring that same experience to a workplace or for a birthday. So a lot of, to kind of, I guess, plug some accounts that we've had is we just did one with Sprint headquarters a couple months ago. That was huge for us. Lockton, Cerner, KU Med, just to say some of the bigger ones that we've worked with. And so those are our two big ones. But during this pandemic, it's been tough. And we have started a third stream of income that we really were doing very minimal, is delivery. And people kind of are like, oh, you can deliver frozen yogurt? I was kind of thinking the same thing, but it's really worked for us. And we use third-party delivery like DoorDash to be able to do that. And it's been great for us. So we're just trying to survive all of this and really focusing on pickup and delivery, since we can't let anybody within our space.
That's awesome. And it's kind of cool. We're everyone on this panel is an entrepreneur, with an exception of myself. And so the ability to be creative and to generate commerce is why you all work for yourself and why you grow businesses to employ people. Chris Smith, what are the top two ways that your organization generates revenue?
The top way is we provide software to athletic departments, Olympic committees. So what our software does, if you think about athletes, student athletes or professional athletes or Olympians, they're essentially almost like an employee, and they have all these services, forms that they need to fill out or partake in. Before, our software coaches were having to organize and manage all this on Excel spreadsheets. What our software does is it puts all the athletes into one centralized location, makes all their resources accessible, and then provides analytics on who's completed the tasks. Then when those athletes are retired or done playing, they join what's called letter winner clubs, where they can continue to access services, get tickets to games, and so on. So we are a SaaS product to them. We charge multi-year licenses, and we're blessed to work with the United States Olympics, to University of Kansas, LSU, Clemson, all the way down to small schools. So that's what we do.
Chris Cheatham, this is a crazy time for your business. Kind of explain the top ways you generate revenue, and then also to someone that's not in the industry, why is it such an interesting time?
Yeah. So we sell to two primary people: insurance carriers or insurance brokers. And we're essentially going through an insurance policy with software and reading it for someone and kind of running it through a checklist to see if it has the things it's supposed to have. So there's two applications of that. There's the kind of forward looking. So whenever you all at your business, you get insurance, somebody needs to check that and make sure it has the right stuff in it. So I'm sure, Scott, you've done lots of these policy checks before, right? And so when you do these policy checks, it's a pain and it's really painful. And so we help do that. The kind of more interesting use case right now is imagine you're like AIG or Zurich or one of these giant insurance companies, and you have hundreds of thousands of customers. And all of a sudden COVID-19 hits and businesses start filing claims because their business got shut down. What do? Right? They're getting crushed by these claims, and they're trying to figure out, some of them contemplated this before, some of them have not. And so our software is we're able to take those 100,000 policies and run them against our AI engine and then pull out answers about whether or not they've covered certain things in the policy. And so if I look a little tired, it's because I'm doing a lot of, we're trying to figure out London right now and how to help London with this, obviously United States. And so we're just the nerds that were stupid enough to try to apply software to insurance wordings, and no one else had really done it. And so we are at the weird apex of really financially benefiting from the bad situation that this is.
Wow, that's pretty crazy situation, but also, with entrepreneurship, it's right place at the right time. Grant, one question I have for you and to ask to everyone else is kind of the future of your industry post-pandemic. Where are you trying to grow your industry? Where are you trying to grow your business, and how is it going to grow your industry?
Well, our industry is kind of tired. The existing qual models that exist in market research are dying and dead. Interviews, phone calls, focus groups, these things are archaic and are losing more ground by the day. Quant is accelerating at a rapid pace because of the aggregation engines that exist around big data. So what we try to do is we are trying to focus on using big data applications for qualitative research, being able to apply numbers to qual, and understanding people's emotions is the future of research, no question. And being able to measure it, we're still in our infancy. We've developed a few methods that work pretty well. It's certainly not perfect, and it won't be perfect for probably decades, but we'll never be perfect because we're measuring people. But that is most certainly the future. We're very lucky that we can do all of this separately. We don't have to be somewhere. We have a lot of friends they're getting their butts kicked right now that we need to be helping, and it shows, Andy Rieger and Matt Basinger. These are people that are getting their butts kicked, and they've been able to be super innovative, and we should be really making sure that we're helping them right now.
Yeah, speaking of that, Isaac, I mean, what you're doing is super innovative. I never would have guessed in a million years you could deliver your products. So what is the future for your industry, and what's the future for your business post-pandemic?
I want to pipe in here. Can you tell everybody again? People are asking how to order from Yogurtini. So can you make sure everybody knows how to order?
I love it. Sure. So I'll answer Aaron's first really quick. So Yogurtini has 3 ways that you can order. You can do call ahead, call the store. We can give you the rundown on yogurts we have, toppings that we have. You can order that way. We'll give you a time limit, and you can come pick it up. Second way is order at the door. We have a nice menu posted on the door. We'll open it up. We'll ask you to scoot back 6 feet. You can order from that menu, and then again, we'll give you a time limit. You just wait right there. Usually it's between 5 and 15 minutes. You can order and be on your way. And then the last way is delivery. So we use DoorDash, we use Grubhub, and we use Postmates. You can order on there. Again, usually between 20 to 30 minutes to be able to get that to your house, sometimes longer, depending on if it's peak time or not. So those are the 3 ways. But Scott, to answer your question, just in general, frozen treats are pretty consistent, but frozen yogurt is on a roller coaster. We're like this. So when I first purchased my store in 2015, we were at the height of it, and it was awesome. 15, 16 were awesome years. 17, 18, halfway through 19, we're down just because froyo is a trend. And I kind of predict with my team in the next 6 to 18 months, it's going to start going up again. But I'm really intrigued to see what happens now with this whole thing. I don't know if that's going to do the opposite and make it so people want to just, get it from the store or whatnot. What I think is going to happen is people have been cooped up so much that they're going to want that person-to-person interaction. They're going to want that experience when they go out, especially those young families. And so I think that we'll have a pretty big spike when all of this is over. The most amazing thing is we found other revenue streams. I think that the delivery is going to be something that is going to stay. And me personally, I've been able to put out there that I am local, and people have been doing an amazing job of supporting local. So I thank everyone out there for that. But frozen yogurt as a whole, I'm not sure. I'm hoping that it goes up.
Chris Smith, where is the future of your industry going to be, and what is your industry, if it's going to look different for your company personally after the pandemic?
Yeah, good question. Unless you've been living under a rock, that athletics has come to a standstill, which has been kind of nerve-wracking, especially with our biggest client being the United States Olympics. And, our biggest challenge right now is if college football were not to happen, which generates most revenue for athletic departments, it would be catastrophic. I was actually, right before this webinar, I was on with about 50 athletic department leaders discussing this. So there's a silver lining for us when we get through this. Sports is not going anywhere. There's always going to be athletes. I think people are jonesing for sports now more than ever. But our industry has a lot of people who have been in it for a lot of times, and the amount of Excel spreadsheets and sticky notes within athletics is still pretty prevalent. By everyone being isolated at home, it's forcing digitalization and virtual platforms like ours. So it's kind of a tricky spot because our interest has never been stronger. I mean, we've had the biggest schools. I just had the Switzerland Olympic Committee to reach out to me. Everyone's realizing they need what we have, but they're also wondering where their future budgets are coming from. So that's the piece that we have to navigate. So one of the areas we've really pivoted to is alumni athletes are a tremendous fundraising source for athletic departments, and they're going to have pride. So while your big donors might be financially hurt, your former players are going to really want to make sure the program goes on. So we've really pushed being able to fundraise through our platform with alumni to increase revenue donations for the schools.
That's awesome. Chris, I mean, Cheatham, I mean, this is a very interesting opportunity for the growth of your business. How do you plan on capitalizing the growth? Because it's, it's an unfortunate situation, but you're really helping the insurance community and the broker community navigate it. So you're helping in a bad situation. So it's not like you're capitalizing from it, but it's where everyone's getting tested and you're the answer. So where do you see the future of your industry and where do you see the future of your business?
So I'll touch on the industry first. It's interesting. It's really tricky. And, I'm literally watching the president of the United States' tweets because he is focused on this business insurance issue that we're focused on too. And so the insurers are saying they exclude coverage for a lot of the COVID-19 business claims. He's come out kind of on the other side. And I think it's going to be a hot issue going into the 2020 election. And so I'm monitoring it very closely because either way, you got to know what's in your policy. So for the business, it doesn't matter. For the industry, it really, really matters because you literally could be talking about bankrupting insurance as we know it. If you decided en masse, you're going to require coverage of all business interruption claims. So I'm having to be very careful on what I say, even right now. I've had customers not happy with what I've said in the past. I came out right away and said, a lot of these claims will potentially have coverage in insurance policies. People didn't want to hear that. So it's been really, really interesting to watch this and track this. And we're trying to really take a data-driven approach so that we let everyone else pontificate about what's about to happen.
So where do you see the future of your business personally? From a growth perspective or opportunity?
Yeah. So coming into this year, we were really focused on brokers and policy checking. And what we've noticed is the brokers are all trying to triage and help their customers right now. They could care less about buying software. They could care less about anything other than helping their customers, which is exactly what should be happening. But the insurance carriers are the ones that are very quickly realizing, oh my gosh, we didn't fully digitalize our policies. We don't know what's going on. So we're focused more on the insurance carriers at the moment and helping them with their policy portfolios. We fully expect the brokers will be coming back. In fact, we know that their use of the software or their purchases for about 3 months. But what's coming on the other side is the brokers are going to be, honestly, brokerages will probably be hit. Agencies will be hit just like everyone else is and having to reduce staff or not hire new staff. And so they're going to need software tools as well to do more work faster. And so we're a productivity software. And so coming out of that, we'll be able to help them. But for now, we're really focused on the carriers.
So we'll do a quick round and then we'll leave the second half for Q&A with the audience.
Start asking your questions now.
Yep. And then, so Grant, one question, you don't have to pick your favorite client, but one of your favorite clients, you don't need to say their name either, but what's a problem that you solve for them? And what is your kryptonite in the kitchen? Meaning, what is in the kitchen you shouldn't be eating? Now, don't say wine or whiskey. That I'm sure we're all going to have fun do that. But pick a client and what's a problem that you're solving for them, and then what's the kryptonite in the kitchen you shouldn't be eating.
Well, I could never pick a favorite client, Scott. You know that. That's. But if I had to, it would probably be. Well, there's this really kind of brilliant company that does kind of AI for insurance.
Okay.
So great.
It's interesting. It's interesting concept. Leadership's questionable.
Hey, Grant, say it to my face. All right.
It's fun. It's fun. The challenging thing is we don't solve static problems, right? Everybody has different problems. Everybody has different challenges and visions because every organization is totally unique. And the fun part of our job is we get to hear really unique visions, right? And working with somebody like Chris at RiskGenius, like that's a totally crazy idea. So we get to sit around and like spitball, and he's like, "What if? What if? What if?" And it's fun working for a visionary like him because it's like, cool, let's do that. Figure out what the hell's going on.
So just
my weakness in the kitchen is definitely in Isaac's realm. I'm a huge any flavored cold, dude. I'm in ice cream, frozen yogurt.
Love it.
Yeah. So I already texted my wife and said we can get frozen yogurt delivered. So she's making that happen.
Yes.
So Isaac, the interesting thing is when you made the comment of, you think delivery is here to stay. You have 30 gentlemen that are entrepreneurs that automatically started shaking their head, and so I think that's a real. I'm not that intelligent, but I read body language, and I think it's great to have folks back up what you're thinking. So from your perspective, I don't know if you have corporate clients, but who are the folks that you love serving, and how have you helped them? And then what's your kryptonite in the kitchen? And you cannot say your own product.
Never. I'd have to go with Grant on this. Like, it's hard to pick a favorite. And I think every single client that we have has different needs. I guess if I would say what I've heard the most from the people that we've worked with in the corporate realm is we've helped them bring in a treat for their customers and for their clients and for their employees that's accessible. A lot of our competitors that sometimes they hire their truck or whatever it is, and they don't have the means to be able to bring it to people unless it's on the curb, which is definitely fine. But some people don't have the time or the break to be able to go all the way outside. So we can literally accommodate any situation, whether it is outside on the curb, we can keep it frozen. Whether it is in an office, in a break room, wherever, we've literally set up anywhere and everywhere. And so I think that that's one thing is we just try to keep innovating ways to be more accessible for whatever it is, whether it's a corporate happy hour or it's a 5K. We've set up in skyscraper buildings and 5Ks. We've done outside events. So I think that's probably the number one thing. Kryptonite in the kitchen. I don't really know. I guess I'm kind of bouncing back to my childhood because as a kid, I was really obsessed with Chips Ahoy chunky cookies, and I've been going ham on those lately. I'm eating all the bad stuff while being quarantined, and I'm a pretty big fitness guy, and my diet's just crap right now. So all the cookies, Oreos as well is a big thing we're eating a lot of right now. My wife's been cooking a lot, so I'm like getting back my love for Italian food. So I don't know if I can name one. It's kind of just food right now. It's all of it. It's all bad.
I have a quick question, Isaac. I'm thinking outside the box here because as a business owner with employees, I've been obsessing when business owners are doing things for their employees right now, like care packages and some. Is that something a business owner could work with you, is getting all of their employees Yogurtini delivered? Would they go for DoorDash or would they hit you up specifically?
It would kind of depend on the business. So the only downside of using third party is, and since we're a frozen treat, is there's going to be a radius of about 5 to 7 miles. Outside of that, it's really not smart for us to be able to send it unless we have a deal before where I can actually put it in something where I know it'll last an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So if it's a corporate client that wants something for their team, I can definitely do that. I have the things to pack it into. If it's a quick just DoorDash for a family, I wouldn't outside of a 10-minute drive or 5 to 7 miles away.
But if we want you delivering, then we have.
I will literally go anywhere. So I'll deliver it myself.
Nice.
Isaac, as a franchisee, do you have the latitude to create your own corporate flavors?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we do. We have Oh gosh, probably a book of about 90 flavors that they give us. And what we've been doing the last 6 to 9 months is just making our own flavors that people have never seen before. And it's been working big time. So we're just making stuff up. We're actually in the I don't want to throw any names out yet because it's not solidified, but I'm working with local companies here to actually put some of their products inside of our flavors and actually brand it and name it as that local company. Hopefully we'll be announcing that in the next month or so. So we can literally do whatever. Our corporate's really cool and working with us on really getting out of the way and letting us do what we do.
So I try never to talk about what I do for a living, but just to plug my company, Hub International, is the largest insurer of cannabis in the world. And so we can get together a research and development group, and we will do R&D with a local cannabis shop, and then we'll test out those 90 flavors.
I'm down.
So Chris Smith, for you personally, what's the favorite a client that you really enjoy working with and a problem that you've solved for them, and then your kryptonite in the kitchen?
I think my favorite part of what we do applies to all of our clients is we've created a front-end engagement platform, but really it's a back-end analytic tool. We've partnered with Microsoft, Power BI, and have put them into all of these networks. And really for the first time ever, our clients can see the utilization of their services and the progression of services to different outcomes. What that does is it brings validation to their jobs, but also grows their budgets. A lot of people in our industry used to get excited over Excel pie charts, and now they have interactive data at their fingertips, which really has been exciting for them to see. Being a former center, I mean, my kryptonite's food, man. I, for years, shoved as much food in my mouth as possibly human, and I haven't learned to stop doing that. But anything crunchy and salty, carbohydrates, they just keep ending up in the hands and the mouth.
Show up there.
Christine, what's a problem that you've solved for one of your clients, and what is your kryptonite in the kitchen?
A problem that I've solved. Oh my gosh. That's basically what I do all day is just jump on calls and try to figure out how to solve problems with data. Trying to think about a specific one today. So we were on a call with London, and there was a London broker who has like 500 different insurance wordings that they're trying to interpret. And so that they can then email all of their, or send a letter to all of their customers and tell them whether or not they have coverage for their shutdown of their business. And so that's forced us to do some very tricky things with data. And so we were just learning about that this morning. So that's basically, I do some variation of that all day, every day. My kryptonite, that was pretty easy. Dried mango from Trader Joe's. It is
That's bad for you?
It's not bad for me. I just can't stop eating it. When it is there, I will literally, it actually is bad for me because it destroys my stomach, right? It hurts so bad to eat an entire bag of dried mango, apparently. But like, I can't stop eating that stuff when it's in front of me. And then cookies too. Like I eat cookies. Like I'll have literally, if my wife cooks cookies, I'll have 12 to 15 in a day. And that's not like an exaggeration. It's really weird. I'll just skip dinner and just eat cookies and then really hate myself afterwards.
So, Aaron, what is your kryptonite in the kitchen before you get to Q&A from the audience?
You guys, at the beginning of this, I was like, I'm going to be so hot coming out of this. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to eat clean because now it's here. My excuse has been like, we're in the river market that I go get whatever's around. I'm not going like that at all. I am eating so many cookies, Pop-Tarts. I didn't even like Pop-Tarts before this. Fruit snacks, like my kids' fruits. It's there, right? So it's way too easy. So, so I'm going to look a different way when y'all see me again. It's not going to be the way I was going. How about you, Scott?
I eat fruit snacks. I'm actually really weird. I've actually been losing weight because I've been working around the clock because now we can all get a hold of each other. And so, previously people were in meetings. So and the only way, if my toddler was crying in the background, my wife was getting him up from his nap. The only way to get your kids, if you have young children, is to take them on walks. So we'll get back to being happy hours and chicken wings and fries, when this thing's over with, and I'll put the weight back on. But right now I'm actually losing weight.
Yeah. You got little kids, that happens. All right, I want to give some shout outs to people and tell everyone to start asking questions. People have been so enthralled watching you guys that we've had almost 200 viewers on this. So start asking your questions. I know you guys have some. Ben wants to say, well said, Isaac. They like how you're pivoting because I think you have a tough business to pivot in right now. So people have been very impressed. And Rajane wants you to know she's from Rapid City. Amy's here. Joy's here. Jerry's here. Joyce is here. Doug Burris, this is for you, Scott. He loves the Bulls music. It's very exciting.
Right. Cool.
And he said, and now your Chicago Bulls, which I'm guessing is a thing.
It's like a telethon.
Courtney Thomas said she was on a meeting during some of this, so she couldn't hear you guys, but you guys look wonderful. And then Isaac, have you played with a dry ice concept per Ben? Care package idea is also genius.
Yes. So, well, not as far as the care package goes, Ben, but we used to use dry ice for all of our catering events. But that's a good idea as far as like shipping an order to somebody. I should look into that. Yeah. Well, we actually, what'd you say?
I just said, has anyone else played with dry ice for any reason?
Yeah, it's one of the liability things of it as well, especially when we drop an order off, that I'm always nervous that, someone's going to burn themselves and that's going to come back on us somehow. So I've tried to get away from it, but if I can do something to like cover it so there's minimal to no liability, I would definitely use that if I were to ship or, take an order somewhere.
I have a quick question for you. Have you thought about and I'm sorry, I'm asking this, but does your insurance cover deliveries, right? In that situation, did you have to look at how liability changed for you?
So no, I didn't look into it. I probably should have, but yeah. I think since we're not the ones actually doing delivery, we're not liable or as liable. I don't know that. I definitely should look into that since we're not actually driving ourselves. I should just definitely
another thing to worry about, right?
Yeah.
DoorDash covers that, right?
What'd you say?
You would think DoorDash, your fees with DoorDash covers that, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that gets transferred to them. But ultimately, since it is our product, if something were to happen or go wrong, or it arrives to them melted and they say that, it was below a certain temperature or something like that, you never know what third-party delivery guys are going to do. I've seen horrific stories of, orders taking hours to get there, and by the time it gets there, it's picked over, or there's nothing. So I would be mortified if someone did that, and by the time they got it, it was soup, and someone for some reason ate it and got sick. But I should be ahead of that. I should definitely know that.
What I want to question real quick, Aaron. I don't think we answered this. I want both Chris and Grant to answer this. Chris Smith, what is the end user, your client, what are they buying from you, and what are you providing to them? I know we talked about your business and the services and revenue, but exactly what are they buying? And I know they probably buy it for 20 different reasons, but what are the top reasons your clients are purchasing your product?
Yeah, so they license it, which we love that revenue model because it's recurring. What it is it's software. It's an engagement platform. So if you think most colleges have 600 to 1,000 athletes, it's a database where they put all their athletes, and those athletes can access all the different services available to them, life skills services, compliance services. There's a whole list of services. And then it tracks and shows them the utilization of every one of their athletes using those services. Before our software, this was all done by coaches on Excel spreadsheets, so no one had any idea what was going on.
Chris Cheatham, what is the carrier buying, and what is the broker buying, and what are they using it for?
Yeah, so I always go to kind of the benefit that they really are focused on, or kind of that underlying need. So basically, people buy our software to improve the accuracy of their reading of insurance policies, right? So basically, they don't want to make mistakes. They're scared they're going to make mistakes in reading these policies. The secondary benefit is they do it a lot faster. So it turns out humans really don't like going through documents in detail and trying to find little tiny things over and over and over and over again. And they make lots of errors. So those two things are what we're trying to fix. Do it faster, do it more accurate, get on with your life, and provide the value-added services to your customers so you don't have to worry about the other stuff.
Grant, I know every client is different, but can you give an example of 2 different industries and what each industry hires you to do?
So we have a nonprofit division that is headed up by Katie Lord, who's kind of an expert in
amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's a beast.
Hire people smarter than you. It works. So in that industry, there's a lot of similar things that nonprofit organizations want to know. Like, how do we get someone who currently gives to our organization to give us more? How do we get somebody that's never given to our organization to give for the first time? How do we get a volunteer to donate? How do we increase attendance at events? These are very common types of questions that we're challenged with and get to do research and figure out. And the answers are never static. If they were, we would just publish one big study and charge everybody, $50,000 to have access to it. But it's not, because again, organizations are totally unique, and so how you do those things are very, very different. So that's one industry and we've worked in, I don't know, countless industries. But we can. I'll say one of my favorite things to do is when someone says, "Well, here's this, we're a 50-year-old organization, and this was something that was handed down by the founder," and they call it like a sacred cow. My all-time favorite thing to do is to challenge sacred cows, because we can tell them whether or not those beliefs that they hold are actually relevant in the market, or if it's just something that you need to talk about internally as part of your culture, or like, yeah, dude, if you say that into the marketplace, you're actually losing money. Don't say that. That's one of my favorite things to do, I would say.
All right, I got some more questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Caitlin Waters. Hello, Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin.
I think a lot of us know her. She says, "Hi, friends. What is a leadership lesson you've learned through managing your team and clients during this new normal that you will apply in the future?" Great question, Caitlin.
Great question, Caitlin. Cheatham?
Yeah, so one of the things that we noticed, there was like the honeymoon period of being at home and working at home the first couple of weeks. And in week 3, we noticed that people were getting very short with each other. And it was me too, right? It was all of us. And like, just morale started kind of plummeting, and so we had to stop and pause and think about why. And like, I don't know, I'm not even sure what, we all just agreed. We all just got in a call and we're like, hey, we're being jerks and we're all trying to solve problems the same way we have in the past, but we're doing it in the same way we've done in the past. And we're going to have to be more empathetic of each other, more mindful of each other. And sometimes, yes, you're going to slow down and explain stuff. And so I think that's actually really helped, because we've kind of gelled here. I mean, we have an algorithm coming out, like a new artificial intelligence bot that got created literally during this 3-week period that changes everything. It just is going to be unbelievable. And that could not have happened if we didn't slow down and like figure out how to work together on these crazy Zoom meetings. I'm so sick of Zoom, by the way. Yeah. So I think just, if anything, like software companies tend to be figure out how to scale quick, and slowing down and talking to each other and explaining is more important than ever.
Aaron, can you say Caitlin's question again?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just find it again.
I have an answer to that. That is good. Fear is our most powerful emotion, without question. It drives you to do things you would never do. It keeps you up at night. It wakes you up at 2 a.m. Make sure to quell the fears of your employees. Set expectations. Even if the news is bad, let them know up front.
Yep.
So one of the first things that I made sure to do is tell the whole team, everybody's fine. Don't worry. Right? And once they get past that, then they can be productive and efficient. But if there's always a question mark of, am I going to be employed, or is my salary going to get cut, or whatever, even if it is, just make sure and tell them. Once you get past that fear, your employees will be more effective and efficient during a tough time. And actually, you'll have a huge leg up on organizations that don't set those expectations and quell that fear off the bat.
To Grant's point, I ended up telling my employees about the PPP. I went back and forth on trying to decide if I should tell them that we did get it. And they have been much more productive since I told them, right? I said, you're going to be fine at the beginning, but each one of them separately sent me an email just telling me it kind of relieves some stuff. So that's awesome advice, Grant. Okay, you guys ready for this question? This is from someone named Isaac Collins. Got on here now.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
This is the first time we've seen it done.
Curious.
I guess so. Are you diversifying your business focus into other industries as well, or just focusing on your main endeavor? Isaac, would you like to take this one?
Really, I asked it because I was just so curious because I know Scott and you and Grant. I don't really know the Chris's too well. So I was just kind of curious if everyone's focusing on their main thing, or, if they're focusing on their main gig, but also have a side gig and maybe have another side gig. And I was just curious.
Chris Smith, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think my biggest learning in the last couple of years is how important focus is. I think when I first started the business, I was involved in too many things, and tried to serve too many masters, and probably didn't do any of it very well. So I found myself, being entrepreneurial, I'm always thinking of new ideas, and we thought about branching off into the military or any of these affinity groups similar to athletes. But I think from learning how much my lack of focus probably has held us back in the past, we're really trying to stay just disciplined. What we're doing is we're really spending more time with our customers. We figure this is a chance to truly create loyalty with them, instead of starting different divisions, and just get as deep as possible. So that's what we're doing. It's tempting though.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good.
Chris Cheatham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a call on this with the president, Jeremy Smith, of our company like 2 hours ago, because usually in the past we've focused on United States, that's it, right? And so we have these calls now coming in from London, and people are saying they need to use a solution there. And so we're trying to figure out, like, can we do that? Does it make sense? We have a really great consulting partner that's helping us evaluate that question, but it's tricky, right? It's really tricky because I think there is that fear mentality where it's like, okay, I need to go chase whatever lead comes in the door. And I think what we're finding is we better be very careful, because we're going to come out on the other side of this, and then all those promises that we had at the beginning of this are going to have to be delivered upon. And then what we were expecting to do, we can't deliver upon anymore. So it's really tricky right now.
It's good.
Nick Giuliani wants to know, how are you managing your teams remotely? And do you have any tips on that?
Love you, Nick.
Love you, Nick.
Grant, you got we'll go around the circle.
Huh?
How are you managing your teams remotely?
So the only thing that we're really doing that is it sucks not seeing everybody, because there's an element of, somebody asked me, they're like, hey, can you run this, and why have rent? Be like, well, because it's good for culture, right? People need to be around people. It's an imperative of the human condition. And not that you couldn't, but if you don't have to, don't. One of the things we do is we log on every Monday morning, and the whole team has a whole meeting where we just talk to each other. And it's an hour long. There's no agenda. We just kind of talk about each other's weekends and make fun of each other. And it's been kind of a highlight during this, because everything else seems to be work, really.
Isaac, how are you handling everything?
So for me, I have 2 full-time managers, and we kind of do the same thing. We talk on the phone for at least an hour every single Tuesday morning. And that's a non-negotiable, just because I want to make sure that everyone's solid. So just a little background, I have one manager who's in her 20s. I have another manager who's in her 60s. And so the one who is in her 60s actually isn't working. Just we don't want her to get COVID and whatnot. So she's staying at home and managing everything from home, because she's my GM. And then my 20-something-year-old manager, she's actually in the stores. And so just so we're all on the same page, we are talking, texting every single day, but then actually hopping on the phone once a week. But my 20, 30-something part-timers, the ones that aren't working, we're really not saying too much to them, because a lot of them are high school or and college kids, and they're kind of doing their own thing. But our ones who have really stepped up and are working a couple shifts a week, or working pretty much every single day, we're making sure that we're checking in with them, asking, how are you guys feeling about working? do you still feel comfortable being in the store and out and about and whatnot? And we feel as if the ones that we are communicating with, that's reassuring them that we care. The other ones, I really just don't know what to say. Like, I don't know if an 18 or a 16-year-old wants to hop on. We also have 3 15-year-olds, so we haven't really figured out how to make them hop on and talk to us when they're probably enjoying not having to be at work. So that's what we're doing, and so far it's working. I just hope that we don't lose anybody as we start to ramp back up.
Chris Smith.
Yeah, we got a play out of our tech team. Our tech team does daily stand-ups, and I decided to do that with the whole company. At first, I didn't know if it'd be overkill, but it's at 8:45 every morning. I was monitoring it because I was a little worried it was going to be too much, but people are enjoying it. You just say the top 3 things you're going to do today, and we move on. But it also allows you to update some good news, and every day somebody has something. So I think it starts the day off with positive news.
That's awesome. Chris Cheatham.
Yeah, I think for our team, I mean, a lot of people are friends. And so having time structured where everyone knows it's not work time, but we're all going to hang out has been really important because we were doing that before. So Monday mornings, we just all get together, have coffee, just chill. Wednesdays, we do tea time. Tea Genius is what we call it. You're expected to drink tea and eat cookies. And then and we play like Jack FM or whatever the heck that thing's called. Really weird game. And then Friday's my day. I do a happy hour and try to get a little tipsy and say something a little bit weird and then hang up and get out of there before I cause too much trouble.
Yeah, got to keep them on their toes for Monday.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Aaron,
Okay,
what other questions are rocking?
Sorry, go ahead. I've got one final question that I saw asked earlier, and now I can't find it, but I think it's a LinkedIn glitch, but I thought it was a great question. What are some podcasts you guys are listening to that are keeping you motivated right now?
Grant, you want to start?
Well, I'm inside 5 books at any given time because that was what my ADD allows me to do.
Yep.
But I always default to revisionist history because I have like sort of a man crush on Malcolm Gladwell. And so anything Malcolm Gladwell does, I'm a huge fan of.
Nice.
But they haven't had an episode recently, though, have they?
Doesn't matter, dude. Keep going back. He's got like 50 episodes plus the books. We actually decided as a company to reread Outliers.
I was a little disappointed in David and Goliath. I just finished that. I didn't think it was his.
Okay, so I would never admit that publicly. But yeah, dude, I was a little bummed. And
I loved all his other ones, but that one just didn't do it for me. I just literally just turned to finish it.
Isaac, podcast?
So I'm not a huge podcast guy anymore, but when I do, it's usually a sermon, honestly. I listen to a lot of sermons throughout my week by a couple of my favorite pastors. But I watch a lot of YouTube videos, so I guess that's kind of the same thing. So a lot of things on investing. I wouldn't say that I subscribe to one or another that I absolutely love. I really just pop around. I've been watching a lot of TED Talks lately for some reason, but I'm also starting to read a lot more. So I just started The Richest Man in Babylon. So excited about that.
Chris Smith, podcast?
Yeah, recently I haven't done a lot. It's just been so crazy busy. I like Joe Rogan's podcast every now and then. But
You also listen to them when you drive. I haven't been listening as much because I'm not driving.
yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's one podcast I still am trying to listen to called Pivot, where they talk about kind of news, but more tech news. It's really, really good. Although just anything news related, I'm trying to avoid a little bit right now. I'm also playing a ton of Animal Crossing. My kids have got me addicted to that. So, and then I'm also reading These Truths. Yeah, so I'm reading a giant history book that's like 900 pages long, playing Animal Crossing, and then just trying to survive with whiskey, basically.
What about you, Scott? Do you listen to any podcasts?
Hey, well, what are yours?
Me?
Yeah.
I really enjoy Dateline in 2020 usually, but now it's all about what's going on. So I've been listening to a lot of Crime Junkies to get back to my good old murder.
Nice. I was, my wife and I were living in an apartment because I had to move out of the plaza away from my friends when we got engaged. And I was walking through the parking lot of the Outlaw Cigar Bar, listening to Malcolm Gladwell, and I don't run. I ran home to my apartment, and I go to my wife. I go, Julie, am I dyslexic? And she said, oh my gosh, you are dyslexic. And so I don't read, but I have listened or read to pretty much anything Malcolm Gladwell has ever done. So I've always overcompensated socially, and my mind can work by helping bring people together. And so there actually is, you can create commerce doing that. So Aaron, if you're all right with it, can I do a rapid fire series of questions to everyone?
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes, and I want to make sure we tell everyone who's on the next 2 weeks. So go quick.
Gotcha. Okay. It's going to go Grant, Isaac, Chris Smith, Chris Cheatham, then Aaron. Okay. Grant, first concert.
Oh, pass. I can't remember.
Isaac.
First concert? Oh my gosh. It was Lil Wayne, Neo, and Chris Brown in 2008.
Chris Smith.
Beach Boys with my parents.
That's
Chris
cool.
Cheatham.
New Kids on the Block, without a doubt.
Aaron.
Tiffany, I said it last week. Tiffany.
Grant, first car and first concert if you want.
I can't. I literally can't. But we're concert junkies. The one I'm concerned about is Rage Against the Machine is going to be here on like the 12th, I think. So I think it's going to get postponed. Super bummed.
That's not happening.
First car was a 1993 red Ford Probe.
Isaac.
I don't know the year, but it was a sexy little Saturn Ion, gold. It was nice. And I wrecked it a week later, so that's good.
Old beat up Ford Ranger.
Cheatham.
Grant, you're not going to believe this. Mine was a neon blue Ford Probe.
Aaron.
Baby Blue Ford Tempo also wrecked it a week later.
All right, last question.
I had no chance.
Grant, worst high school job.
Oh, so many. I painted tar on basements of houses.
Isaac.
I actually loved this job, but hated my boss. It was at Best Buy, and I quit because my boss threatened to wrestle me to the ground because he said he was better at wrestling than I was at football because it was football season. I was 16 and he was 40, so I was like, I'm out of here. I'll take this. Ugh.
Making shave ice for rich tourists on the beach.
Cheatham.
It was because I was bad at it, but it was being a waiter at Coyote Grill. I was the worst waiter ever in the history of the planet.
Aaron.
I was a Sonic car hop, and I got fired twice.
Oh, twice.
Well, the cool thing is Aaron's going to talk about our next guest, but the problem is no one knows who the person is. So, Aaron, go ahead. Feel
No,
free
you
to
tell everybody who's going to be on next week, and then I'll tell them the following week. So next week.
Quentin Lucas.
No, there we go. Quentin Lucas is on 2 weeks from now. Next week we have Maria and Nate, all your friends.
I got you. Yes. So we have Lori Roberts of Paris Communication, Nate Orr of Spencer Fane, Richard Wetzel of Centric Projects, and Maria of ABIN. So
Hey,
great group of people. Similar to this crew, everyone's friends. Everyone can give each other a hard time. So we're trying to group people together that enjoy and like each other.
Yes, Chris.
Scott, Nate used to be my boss when I was an intern at his law firm.
What?
So make sure you ask him about that. Oh, yes.
We will ask him.
That guy is trouble.
He's already long on top, so we're really excited to see the hair because he's going to have really good flow.
He's like a mobster at this point. Like, he runs Kansas City from what I can tell. The dude is like, he's so bizarre.
I'm excited to meet him.
I'm signing in just for Nate and Richard.
Nate's actually been commenting on all of yours. He said you guys did a great job. And then the following week, so May 5th, which is actually Cinco de Mayo, so we should do that theme. If you want to ask Quentin to join in a theme, mark your calendars. We're going to have Quentin Lucas and just him that week. We only have 30 minutes, so log in early so that you can get your questions asked, but we did get him to promise to 30 minutes. So
cool. Thank
you guys so much for coming on. Scott, thank you as always for being an amazing co-host. We really appreciate it. And cheers, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys. Cheers. Thanks.